Girls and guys,
216-578-1007 or 1-800-348-1007.
Boy, your Cleveland Guardians did not avail themselves of any victories in this series with the Detroit Tigers, which ended today. 4 games, and your Guardians ended up taking 1, which is not just a little bit surprising. 10-1 was the final today. That was the afternoon businessman's special there at Comerica Park to wrap that series. So they will head to Tampa tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday. They'll play the Rays and then come back home next week. I guess they have that All-Star break, don't they? Yeah. Is that what that is? Because okay. So their first game next week won't be until Friday. They'll do the weekend series here at home against the Padres, and then they will host the Tigers. That's another 4-game series against the Tigers. And then they go back for 2 more games like the next week. What's going on? Are these like rain-out games against Detroit?
They might be.
Wow. Well, anyway, plenty of chances for them to get their revenge in the Motor City. I was reading a story today. Boy, if you have any empathy at all for the animal kingdom, there in Australia, the authorities happened upon...
You lost me at Australia because a lot of the animals there are scary.
Scary animals. Well, what do they have? What's indigenous to... They've got the kangaroos or
they got kangaroos,
wombats.
koalas, wombats.
But aren't those all adorable
those are
animals?
the cute ones, but then they got the giant spiders and the weird...
Oh, right.
So many poisonous things in Australia.
Well, you figure 3/4 of that continent are uninhabited, right? Or I should say uninhabited by humans.
Right.
So... all kinds of things that can kill you. But it feels like everyone's kind of staying on their side of the fence. Authorities happened upon 65 dead kangaroos. Illegal killing, a kangaroo massacre. There's got to be a good portmanteau for that. A local wildlife shelter had called wildlife officials about an hour outside Melbourne. They found 65 kangaroos that had been shot or run over by vehicles. They said that a few of them were found alive, but they were in such bad shape they had to euthanize them. 65 kangaroos. Gunshot wounds, injuries that they had been run over. Somebody went out there and had a field day. And I don't think that kangaroos are endangered, but, I mean, something weird going on there. Because there are a lot of kangaroos. You know, out here we have, like, deer culling, right? They go, all right, boys, get out there and, light up them deer. There's too many of them, too little food in the ecosystem or whatever. That's kind of what they got going on with kangaroos in Australia. There are a lot of them. But if you were to come across, imagine walking through a field and you come across 65 shot and run over dogs. That would be weird.
Yeah, it'd be really upsetting. That'd be very upsetting.
That wouldn't be fun to find. Now, this is not to say that kangaroos are considered the dogs of Africa. That would be the dingo, which I think is a dog, or it's at least in the wolf family.
Baby eater.
Baby eater. Maybe the dingo ate your baby. The dingoes go back thousands of years, I think. I don't even know if I imagine you can domesticate a dingo. I don't know if they come that way, but the only thing, again, I've never been to Australia. I think it's the length of the trip that's kept me from going. And of course, the overt racism. That's not a selling point for me. I know it is for a lot of people, but Australia, by and large, is kind of known for that. But All I remember from back in the day is watching whatever Steve Irwin was doing. Remember Steve Irwin?
Yeah, the crocodile hunter.
He was the crocodile hunter. He was the guy who ended up dying at the hands of a stingray, right? And the stingray stab him?
Yeah, stab him
in
right
the
in
solar
heart.
plexus.
Yeah.
And then his little girl grew up, and she's carrying on that legacy.
So is his son.
I don't know who his son is.
It's Steve Irwin's son. I don't know his name, but he's got.
Is he Steve Jr.?
I don't think he's Steve Jr., but he's out there doing stuff too. Both
All right.
his son and his daughter carry on his legacy.
I remember the daughter, Bindi Irwin was her name, and she's grown up, and she's got kids of her own now. But yeah, I guess she's got a brother, whatever.
Robert Irwin.
That's his name?
Yeah.
Robert Irwin.
Yeah.
All right.
He's 21 years old now.
Okay. I mean, you have to, you see these families where they all end up doing the same thing. Couldn't you just go off? I know you want to, like, revere your father and all that and keep his memory alive, but your sister's already doing that.
But
right?
he loves it too.
You're not carrying on the legacy of your family.
No.
You're doing your own thing. You've blazed your own trail.
Right.
You're following your own path.
I didn't want to be a bricklayer.
Right.
My dad did want one of us to, and none of us wanted to. We didn't want to carry on the family business. Because I saw how difficult and how stressed out he was. And I was like, oh, that doesn't seem like a fun life.
That's not something I want for me.
Right.
Well, that's why this, I feel like at least our white-hot appreciation of Haley Welch is waning. She's the Hawktua girl. But she's still out there trying to make it rain.
She is. I just saw a video where she got paid $30,000 to judge a bikini contest in Miami.
She did.
Yeah.
30 grand.
I didn't get that to judge the Miss Around the Corner. I'll tell you that much. No.
They didn't give you 30 grand?
No, I did not.
Oh,
get
you
that.
got ripped off.
Yeah.
Well, and what I was reading an article about how it's like super cringy. All of these girls now who are like trying to leapfrog on the Hawktua thing.
Yep.
It's like, ladies, this was accidental and hilarious.
I've seen some videos.
It's lightning in a bottle. You're not going to get that again.
Let's see a video of a girl say she wouldn't spit on it, she'd fart on it. And then she called her beehole toothless.
Yeah, that's gross.
It's gross.
That's work. That's what I'm talking about. Working way too hard and not getting.
But
I don't know.
Calling her beehole toothless really made me laugh, though.
I mean, that's what Iggy Azalea was rapping about. Her toothless bee.
Yeah, I guess so.
And so the Hawktua girl, who in the immediate aftermath of that was trying very hard to stay anonymous because she didn't know what the hell was going to happen. Now it's very much the other way.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I'm the Hawktua girl. I'm hanging out here with DJ Shaq. But she's obviously addressing
Diesel.
Shaq Diesel. Addressing a lot of the rumors because immediately after they're like, oh, she's a teacher and they got fired. She's like, no, I work in a spring factory.
And her dad wasn't a pastor. There's
Right.
nothing.
Yeah. But she is talking to people and telling them how her life has changed and what's next. Oh, hold on. I want to play this for you.
There you go.
Yeah, just do this now is what I want to do.
There you go. Come on. You can do it.
And people are asking her, like, are you going to start an OnlyFans account? Like, what are you going to do? Because that's everybody's go-to now is, hey, when's the OnlyFans going to happen? But it's not for everybody because you still get the vibe from the girl that she's trying to, be cool. And
Things that have changed my life so far since all this has happened. Number one, I got over my stage fright. I sang in front of 80,000 people with Zach Bryan the other night, and I cannot sing for but I did it anyway. Number two, I quit my job at the Spring Factory, and so I don't have to eat Taco Bell all the time, but I'm still going to do it anyways. Number three, I actually have to get ready more than one time out of the week now. I'm not allowed to look like Adam Sandler anymore. Well, it's not all delightful. Here are 3 things that have not been so great here lately. Number one, I have to convince my pawpaw not to shoot the paparazzi outside of our house every day because they've been camped out here for like 2 weeks. Number two, stop asking me for the link in bio for my OnlyFans. I don't have an OnlyFans and there will never be an OnlyFans. I just make funny jokes. That's all I do. And number 3, I'm tired of the imposters and all the fake accounts. Hey, there's one more thing that's really pissing me off. Any of you selling or purchasing merchandise online, it's not from me. It's not approved by me, and it's counterfeit, and I'm not making a damn dime off of any of it. But I just hired a manager, and I hired an attorney, so we're coming for you. But don't worry, I'm launching my merch store very soon, and you'll be the first to know to get your official Hawk Tuah merch from me.
Hawk Tuah merch.
Did she have? I thought she already had official merch.
She had, I think,
Like
it's
a hat
something
or
incorporated.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they threw her a hat in the video.
Yeah.
But she still seems very sweet. She's like, oh, I was working at a spring factory. It's not like a very, if you wrote her life story just based on what you think the stereotype would be.
Hawk to the top.
Yeah. She's working in a spring factory. Now, those are less fun than the summer factories. Those are really fun if you've ever worked in one of those. You ever worked in a factory type situation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't love it.
Well, you know, if you're in it for a short period of time, if you know that it's transitional, you're kind of like, oh, yeah, it's okay. You meet great people, but it's always the people that you meet, and it can, in a strange way, be your motivation when you meet the people who've been there for 40 years. But they like what they do. And it also depends on what kind of factory you're working in. A spring factory sounds like there's constant potential for injury because you're making springs, which are coiled and metal and sharp, right? Something flies off the line, hits you in the eye, then you're not the Hawk Tuah girl anymore. Then you got one eye, and you're back at the spring factory.
Well, that's why she's out of there.
Because this isn't going to last forever.
No, that's why she's got to make as much money as she can.
Right.
Strike while the iron's hot. And the hope is that you can be one of the rare ones that spins it into something that you enjoy doing that will make you money.
Listen, if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life.
Whoever said that's a liar.
I like how she said, my dad is so far from a preacher. She didn't elaborate, but she's like, yeah, my dad's not a preacher. In fact, he couldn't be less like a preacher. You think whoever said, if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life was a liar.
Yeah. I love what I do, but it's still work.
It is work,
Yeah.
but not the kind of work, people who hate their jobs.
Right.
I've tried to impart this, obviously, because I have 2 older children and now I have a 3rd grader. I have tried to impart to my children what a fortunate situation I have created for myself, right? A lot of it's luck, but I'm like, anybody who gets to do something that they enjoy doing, you're breathing rarefied air because it doesn't even have to be something of a public nature because a lot of people hate their jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's like I was saying with my dad. He was very good at his job. He provided for us, but it was just so stressful. And
but it was also a thing of his own making, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't get something handed down to him. Or there's a lot of people like running their dad's company. That wasn't your dad.
No, he started his own company.
Right.
A lot of his brothers worked for him for a long time. He was kind of like, it was a family business in that I think at one point, all of his brothers worked for him.
Wow. And what, they just went on to do other things, or they were killed in industrial accidents?
Some split off and did their own business, and some switched careers and, things like that.
All right. Alan, will you play Kangaroo Massacre this Saturday night on 2 Hours to Midnight? I thought about that, but it'll have to be old. They haven't put anything new out in a long, long time. I do have some Australian metal, though, on Saturday night. I think these guys are Australian. A band called Karis. I think Karis is Australian. A lot of really good metalcore and black metal coming out of Australia right now. I don't know when the singing kicks in, but anyway, more where that came from on Saturday night. Our metal show. It's called 2 Hours to Midnight. We were off last weekend for the holiday, and so we were returning all pent up on Saturday. Me and Corey Roddick and Pat Butler. Alan, you forgot about the platypus in Australia.
Oh, yeah.
Is that indigenous to Australia?
I believe
don't know
so.
that I knew
it's
that.
It's a weird-ass animal, too.
All right.
It's a real conglomerate of different animals.
Huh.
Don't make no sense, that platypus.
Yeah. It's like a groundhog, but with a duck's bill, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it lays eggs, but it's a mammal, I think. And it doesn't have nipples. It's weird. Doesn't have.
It doesn't have nipples.
I don't
Now,
believe
do you
so.
know this from your own personal experience, or
I've not from experience. I just read up on platypuses once.
I
They used to
see.
have a joke about it. They're weird animals,
well, because when I was a kid, they were called the duck-billed platypus.
and they can also like sense. They can like kind of sense like energy fields underwater. I don't know. They're weird.
Right. They're very much in tune with their environment. But I mean, have they dropped the duck-billed part? Is that old school?
No, I think that still goes.
It still
Yeah.
is. Okay. I wonder simply because I'm like, well, maybe after a certain amount of time, they were like, the duck-billed part is baked into the cake. That's a given. There aren't other, because it implies there
I mean,
are
you can
other
shorten
kinds
it
of
for
platypuses.
Sure. Yeah.
Al and I work in a factory that is fairly new in Streetsboro, opened in 2019, and 100% the only reason I'm still there is the people. Yeah, well, that's a good reason to be there, right?
It's a people factory.
It's a people factory. Well, it's a spring factory, but the people are making the springs, and then the springs are making the people happy, I guess. Platypus is an egg-laying mammal.
Yeah, the platypus, sometimes referred to as the duck-billed platypus.
All right.
So that's just like a fun nickname for it.
Mm-hmm. And again, you know, people text me, and your results will vary on the Australian racism, obviously. Somebody says Aussies are no more racist than us. I work with a lot of them. But then other people will text me and go, it's very covert. It's not overt. And New Zealand is even worse. So I don't, you know, those are countries that obviously it's not like everybody looks the same. They have indigenous Aboriginal people and things like that. But I went to college with a couple of people from Australia, and they were like, yeah, it's not, you know, again, results will vary. But maybe it is the same as here. What the hell do I know? I've never been. Again, I'd like to go.
Platypus have venom?
What?
They have a venom. It's a wild animal, man. There's so many different aspects of it. Yeah, it's
Well,
got, the male platypus has
To
a
immobilize predators?
It
Protect their eggs?
has a spur on the hind. It's a male platypus that has a spur on the hind foot that delivers an extremely painful venom.
Wow. So like a hawk tua in the wild. It sprays the venom.
I guess so.
I was walking out, again, I don't have, I was fresh off a story from my son about when he was sprayed by a skunk last month. He was in my ex-wife's backyard, and he was doing something, and he got sprayed by a skunk.
Ooh.
Now, I've never been sprayed by a skunk, but I could imagine he's like, it's just an unbelievably awful experience because it takes forever to get it off of you and out of you. It just smells terrible. So anyway, about a week or so ago, I'm in my backyard, and I'm going to open the door to my gate to go out onto the sidewalk. And going across, it was like maybe 8:30 at night, and walking just very, in a very jaunty fashion, walking across the street was a family of skunks. There was one big one, and then 3 or 4 small skunks following along, like underneath, you know, the hem of the garment or whatever. And I stood there. I didn't want to move because I didn't know how fast they were. I didn't know if they heard me, if skunks come after you. I didn't know if they were active or passive. I didn't want to get sprayed. But I was curious, so I kind of walked up and watched them go along the perimeter of my fence until they kind of hunkered down by a tree. But I was like, because I don't know what you do. You know, the old wives' tale is that you had to take a bath in tomato juice or something, but that doesn't sound like, I don't know anything. There's got to be a modern remedy for that.
Let's see.
But I did not want to get sprayed by a skunk, and I have no experience with them, so I didn't want to even make a move because I was like, I don't want it to be like the movies where the thing turns its head, and then chases you. I don't know if skunks chase. I don't know anything about them.
If you do get sprayed by a skunk, this is how to neutralize the smell. 1 quart of 3% hydrogen peroxide.
Oh, God. Well, I got plenty of that lying
A
around.
quarter cup of baking soda, and 1 to 2 teaspoons of liquid dish soap. And that'll neutralize the smell.
All right. Well, again, I don't know if I need those things on hand because
You don't see skunks that often.
right.
It's annoying that skunks are so cute.
They're adorable.
They're so cute. But
Yeah.
then they stink.
Of course, the late Richard Jeni, fantastic comedian, had a special called Platypus Man. That was his first HBO special. Of course, he was end up killing himself.
Yeah.
But I don't know if one had anything to do with the other. I remember when he shot that special. He shot it.
I thought you were going to say, I remember when he shot himself.
No, I think
I do. I remember.
Oh well, I thought he hanged himself.
Well, when he killed himself, I don't remember if he shot her.
Oh,
hung
okay.
himself. But I remember I was at Hilarities when I found out,
Yeah,
and Nick was just beside himself.
yeah. He was in The Mask back in the day. He was so funny, so funny. But I remember when he shot that special. I think at not at Zany's, one of the clubs that used to be in Chicago. I think is where he did it. I'm going to break here. When we get the last word in, send a text 35192. I think you're getting the Corey Roddick experience tonight at 6:30. Guardians are done for the day. So we'll return after these.
It's the Alan Cox Show.
Everywhere on our free iHeartRadio app.
Or whatever smart device you have.